Wait, this happens every year? Hey guys, and welcome back to our channel. I am Donnie, and along with my wife Aubrey, we are two Americans currently living in Germany and sharing all of our experiences living and traveling throughout Europe. For those of you that are new to our channel, we have been living in Germany for nearly 3 years now. And prior to our time living in Europe, like a vast majority of Americans, we had never heard of Eurovision Song Contest. That all changed in 2020 when we first watched the Netflix movie starring Will Ferrell and Rachel McAdams, Eurovision Song Contest: The Story of Fire Saga. Honestly, a lot of that movie went right over our heads as we had never seen Eurovision and we didn't understand many of the inside jokes or even who a lot of the people highlighted in the movie were, who were previous ESC stars that most Europeans would probably recognize. Now, let me know what you thought of that movie in the comments, because maybe called an unpopular opinion, but even with our lack in Eurovision connections, we really enjoyed that movie and it got us interested in the real deal. Well, last year was our first year to ever watch ESC and we got hooked. Obviously, with shows like American Idol or The Voice, we had seen music competition shows, but nothing we had ever seen was like this. From the awkward kitschiness of some performances to the genuinely good hits that came out of it, to just how Europeans make entertainment compared to what we are used to in the US, it honestly was just so unique and we couldn't get enough of it. We made a video all about our experiences watching it for the first time, which I will link here, and in that video we also went down a deep rabbit hole researching all the history and fun facts about ESC, and we gave a very detailed report of our findings. But obviously, many of you have grown up watching this show, so let me, as a Eurovision Song Contest newbie, know all the fun facts and things that you know about it in the comments below so that I can learn from you guys. So now that we have one ESC under our belt and kind of understand what is going on, but honestly not really, it is time to rock again. And that is exactly what we are going to talk about today in our video. The song competition, the unknown exhibition. We're talking Eurovision. Again. How long do I do popcorn for?
I usually do 3 minutes and then take it out about 15 to 20 seconds to spare.
So there are a lot of different competitions that are pretty new to us since moving to Europe. For example, like the World Cup. It's becoming bigger in the US, but still not many people pay attention to it, at least we never have. So if you were to ask us how often it occurs, I honestly couldn't really tell you. I think that I've learned it occurs every 4 years now, but we're much more familiar with things like, say, the Olympics. And we know the Olympics, of course, happens every 4 years. So with Eurovision, we were honestly very surprised to learn that it's happening again this year, and that it does happen every single year, because with something that brings all these different countries together, we honestly would have assumed that this would occur about every 2 years, 3 years, maybe 4 years. And this year we are doing something a little bit different. We found that Eurovision Song Contest actually on their website has scorecards with the lineup of the competitors for this evening, and we're able to rank them based off of how we perceive their performances. So one thing that we definitely still do not understand is the voting in this competition. So we're probably gonna make it easy on us by just doing a 1 out of 10 score. I think that's what they recommend on the bottom of this page. So Eurovision is about to begin. So we particularly remember last year whenever the host came out, we didn't recognize any of them, and we thought maybe it's because they're somebody just famous in Europe that we had just never seen in the US, but I think we later found out that they are famous specifically in the Netherlands. And I think again, this year, we don't recognize any of the hosts. So I don't know if they are necessarily famous in Europe or just Italy. I'm thinking Italy. You don't recognize any of them, did you?
No, but one guy started speaking French, so.
I think he just speaks French. I don't think he is French. I think he's Italian and speaks French. But let us know, do you know any of these hosts? Write that in the comments. The show was kicked off with Albania first, and honestly, not a great start for me. Kind of interesting. For my notes, I wrote, let's see, feisty, deep, voice, provocative, and not my favorite. So I ended up giving that a 2.
My notes say, too focused on sexiness and not on vocals or song quality. Sorry, Albania. I gave him a 1.
Oh, not off to a great start, but let's see where Eurovision takes us now. So Switzerland just went, and Switzerland's the first country that we've seen so far that we've actually been to. And I would say I enjoyed it, but probably not gonna win it. That's my take, so probably give it like a 5. Okay, Aubrey, explain to us what your scoring criteria is. What are you looking for?
I'm looking at just personal music preference, something that gets me excited, and I would only give something a 10 if I would add it to some kind of a Spotify playlist.
For me, I am particularly drawn to countries that sing in their own language. In my head, I really like the idea that this competition is a showcase of different cultures as well, even though I know that's probably not what it is today. I know a lot of people last year were commenting that that's what it more used to be, but also I'm just looking for something really fun and that's got like some soul to it, and I guess this makes me groove. So with Armenia's performance just ending, that is it for tonight's performances. So I'll go ahead and put our scores for the night up on the screen. My biggest winners, I think, were Portugal and the Ukraine. Those are my 2 favorites. And of all the performances tonight, I think the number 1 that felt the most like what an American, or I as an American, would expect from a competition like Eurovision was Austria with their kind of electric techno music. But clearly all the other songs prove that stereotype wrong, considering almost none of the others were that tonight.
This is hard. I feel like my scoring kind of changed throughout the evening. My favorites were probably Armenia, Portugal, and Latvia, maybe? I don't know. None of them completely blew me away tonight, though. So I'm hoping next, what is it, Thursday? We'll have some that are just like amazing.
So now the voting lines are open, and this has reminded me, we learned last year that the semi-final nights, I guess the voting is done by Europe. You can vote by app or by text or phone call, I think. So we have to wait now on that, which is already 10:40 at night here. This is something that surprises last year too, was how late Eurovision starts in the evening. I understand there's a lot of time zones that are watching the show, so they kind of have to start it at maybe some weird times for certain time zones. I mean, I'm assuming we're probably gonna be up past 11 or 11:30 waiting for the results to find out who makes it into the final. It's the top 10 of the 17 that performed tonight, so we'll wait and see if the rest of Europe agrees with what we felt watching tonight's performances.
And last finalist for tonight is the Netherlands!
So a little bit after 11 o'clock, and we finally got the results in. And the first few countries that were named, honestly, it felt like we're in a big surprise. It was kind of the ones that I had hoped to pull through. It wasn't until we got down to about Norway and Greece that I kind of thought that maybe that could have gone either way. But there was one in particular I was really surprised to see Denmark didn't make it through. So let me know what you guys thought of night number 1. Were there some countries that you hoped to get through that didn't get through, or were you pretty happy with the list that Europe voted into the finals? So with that being said, that is it for night number 1, and now on to night number 2. All right, you guys, so tonight is night number 2 of the Eurovision Semi-Finals. We're about to kick off, and I thought something that's kind of interesting is that a lot of you guys may think that Americans aren't aware of Eurovision just because we don't compete in it. However, it's much deeper than that, and something that we learned last year is that actually Eurovision just really isn't even available for Americans to even watch or know it exists because it doesn't really air on any television channels in the US. This year, I did see that the streaming service Peacock is going to be streaming it for American audiences. So if they're aware of it, maybe some Americans will be watching. But also something that was interesting that I found was that last year I tried to send my brother in the US some of my favorite clips of performances, and he couldn't even watch it because Eurovision's YouTube channel had geo-blocked the performances for Americans being able to watch it. So with that being said, who are we rooting for? Last year, 2 of our favorites of the entire competition were Iceland and Lithuania. And you think that maybe I should be rooting for Germany, but honestly, I don't know. It doesn't even seem like a lot of Germans that we talk to out and about really care for Eurovision that much. So we're not really necessarily loyal to Germany either, but we'll see tonight who blows us away and maybe who we start rooting for in the finals. So right before we get kicked off on night number 2, I want to ask you guys that if you're enjoying this video to please hit that like and subscribe button. It goes a really long way in supporting our channel. And also I want to give a huge shout out and thanks to our patrons over on our Patreon page. And if you guys want to know other ways that you can support our channel, I will leave a link to our Patreon page in the description below. But with that being said, let's get rocking. So we've kicked things off with Finland first and then Israel second, which I want to point out tonight I realized is kind of like the night of countries that Americans wouldn't know compete in Eurovision, because we have like Israel and Australia, not the people that we would expect to be considered European, which of course they're not. They're just kind of in the broadcasting network, so they're allowed. But all I have to say so far, Finland, I forgot was one that I loved last year, and Finland kind of let me down this year. Wasn't really feeling it. Israel, one word I had was confidence. Okay, so we are in 6 deep now, and after every 6, they kind of take a little bit of a break, it seems like, from the performances. So a quick recap. So far, I do think Malta and Israel, I think, are the top ones that I have kind of seen, at least for tonight for sure, and maybe of the whole competition. For Georgia, the thing that I wrote was that I only liked the beard.
I liked all their costumes, but I think I agree. I think Israel and Malta were definitely the best so far.
So the next country that will be competing is San Marino, the tiny, tiny nation of San Marino. And if you guys have been following our channel, you would have seen that we did just go to one of the micronations in Europe. We went to Liechtenstein, but Aubrey brought up a really good point just a minute ago. You know, in between the performances, they show off some of the sights and landscapes or the tourist attractions of the host country. So for tiny countries like San Marino, if they win, 1, how do they even host a competition like this? And 2,
do they even have places to show off in between all these different acts? I don't know.
Okay, the next group of 6, San Marino through Estonia. Really what I have to say about this group is I think there were some of the more stronger performances, but also some of these were even a little bit more artsy than I could handle. I don't know exactly how to describe some of them.
You don't want to describe them?
Yeah, I think the song from Ireland doesn't seem like a song that I normally would be into, but I feel like it was a really good one and kind of like a mainstream pop song that was really well done, high energy. So that's probably my favorite out of that group.
We just noticed that on the next 6 countries, we've been to all of these countries. So we're excited to reminisce on our time in each of these countries as we listen to their songs.
So we just wrapped up the last performances of the evening, and I think the very last performance was probably my favorite of almost the entire competition. My top 2 right now are Czech Republic and Portugal from the first night. Of course, we haven't seen the big 5 that automatically make it to the finals, but that's my personal take.
Yeah, and honestly, I feel like last year there were quite a few songs that we just like really loved and we went and we listened to the whole week after Eurovision. We really liked them. Haven't really felt that as much this year. So hopefully at the finals, there'll be a couple that we just really, really love. But I think my favorite so far are Belgium and Czech Republic. I feel like the first night I was a little too generous with all my points, so I was a little more stingy tonight and a little more strict on my points. But I do think I liked some of the ones tonight better than the last night.
And I think I personally am very stingy with my points just in general. You guys probably could tell that. But I was just waiting. I didn't know what would be a 10. I felt like I needed to see a performance and I would just know, okay, that is a 10. But I just never really saw that. But voting is open right now to see who of the semifinals from tonight will make it to the finals. So now we gotta wait till that closes and we will see who will be watching Saturday night to win the entire competition.
A couple of years ago, but he used to be an opera singer, and I still got recorded.
As we're waiting for the results to come in tonight, they're doing some highlights of 3 of the big 5 that will be performing in the finale. And they showed Germany, and clearly I don't keep up with the Eurovision news prior to this week at all. So I had no idea that the German singer for this year is actually half American and half German. I may now be pulling for the German artist, not just because we live here, but also because he's also half American. And a little tidbit of his song that they played is actually really good, the little bit that I heard. So maybe Team Germany now / Team America is our way of sneaking into the competition finally for once.
Can you tell us if the votes are all in?
Yes, I'm happy to tell you that they are.
We are about to find out which 10 have made it to the grand final.
So far, our 2 favorites.
The very last country to go. The Saturday grand final of the Eurovision Song Contest 2022. Serbia!
Whoa!
This does not make sense at all. What about Israel and Ireland? They were so good.
Seriously cannot believe the results of that. I do think that as some newbies watching Eurovision, there's some politics at play that we don't fully understand or appreciate. Because some of those I cannot believe, like Malta, Israel, Ireland didn't make it through, and some of those that did get through, I have no idea how they got through. It could just be that our taste is just way off of what the European taste is of music. So that's it for night 2. Now all that's left is the finale. If you're watching this video before the finale, go ahead and leave in the comments who you think will win this year. And if you're watching after the finale, well, go ahead and write this spoiler in the comments as to who won. To see who made it this far into the video, the random question of the week is... Normally on our Eurovision videos, we get viewers from all over Europe, so let us know, what is your favorite food from whatever country you are from? Thanks so much for watching, guys. Be sure to hit those like and subscribe buttons, and we will see you in our next video. Okay, Aubrey, explain to us real quick what you are using for... No, wait, dang it. Okay, Aubrey. No, wait. Okay, Aubrey. Try to explain to us what... what am I trying to say?
My scoring criteria is.
Oh, yes. Okay, Aubrey. Explain to us what your